Welcome in, everyone, to episode 95 of the Backcast Podcast. I'm your host, Peng, joined by my co-host, the Pelper, aka Speedy Chief 2. Did you get that EUIC? Is that a new purchase?
No, it was a gift recently. So,
Oh, I see your dog's
high.
tail behind you. Actually, that's the first.
Yeah, she's hanging out.
Dog cam. Yeah.
Dog
At first,
cam.
I was like, wait, is that a cat? And I was like, no, you don't have a cat.
I gotta upgrade my stream to get a dog cam.
True.
But yeah, man, I'm feeling good. How are you feeling? I'm still a little jet lagged from London, but
yeah. Our apologies if this episode comes out a little later. We had to push back recording a little bit due to some jet lagness stuff. Not too bad. I probably am a little jet lagged. I don't know. Yesterday I was in and out like quite a bit. So
yeah,
there's that.
It was like I think it was like midnight last night. I just had such a powerful urge to just go to sleep. I don't know, man. I rarely just am able to just lay down and instantly go to sleep, but that was pretty nice.
Really?
Yeah.
You're having trouble sleeping already? At our current age?
No, I'm saying yeah, typically it's a little bit tougher, but because of all the jet lag and being tired, I actually just passed out, which is great.
Gotcha. Well, that is always thing. Oh my goodness, my cat is being chatty. Yeah, I don't think y'all can hear it because of mics. But yeah, we are back from London, fresh off the planes, and maybe not feeling so fresh, but we're here with another episode. 5 episodes away from 100. What's going to happen? Stay tuned. 5 more weeks.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I got some plans, but we shall see. Happy tax day as well, or post-tax day. So if you haven't done your taxes yet and you live in the United States and you aren't one of the affected areas in California from inclement weather issues, then better get on it, man. IRS coming for you.
Ask for an extension ASAP.
You sound like that's a personal request.
No. I actually did mine right before Europe, and I paid my tax bill the week prior to going to London, and it was it stung a lot.
Yeah. So what I've been doing, I guess I'm technically like still like paying plenty of taxes, but what I've been doing is paying the IRS ahead of time. So I'll just pay them like a bunch of money and be like, and then I just assume like, and then I always get money back, but it's because I like paid a bunch. I'm still losing money in that regard.
Yeah. But. Well, that's actually what my tax lady recommended as well, especially if you're, solo self-employed. She says pay in quarterly. Yeah. If you don't pay in quarterly, you actually have to pay a fee, which is what I had to do as well, which is like $100 extra.
Dude, yeah, I didn't know that either, right? And like, because when I started doing the full-time YouTube thing, I didn't know that either. And then my dad was the one that told me, like a year after. I was like, dude, you run your own business. Why didn't you think I needed to know this, right? Like, I didn't know this at all. But yeah, he didn't tell me until after. And so I figured out last year, so I did that ahead of time. And especially, when we do like stuff for the Pokemon company, we get contracted. Like, there's a lot of taxes we have to pay. So
yeah. Very little is withheld, so it's like,
very little zeros withheld on my end.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into the episode. We got stuff to cover. I mean, most are just recapping EUIC and stuff. We have some events, stuff like that. If you love remote raiding, it's still not a great week for you. It's not a great week for all of us. But
it's not getting better.
No. But anyway, let's get into the episode. Comments from last episode. Michael Perez says, first, cool beans. What
Dude,
indeed?
It's very cool beans to be first.
Sabine says, we say half a liter if necessary, regarding to when I said 0.5 liters, right, for like a beer or something. And if we want Hefeweizen in northern Germany, we say N-Weizen or M-Weizen. They always come in half a liter bottles. Dude, I love it, man.
Sure.
The Hefeweizen. And the Slow King says afterward in Dutch, we would also say something like half a liter. 0.5 liter is something we'd almost never say. We're honestly more likely to say 0.5 because we'd be speaking English then. Gotcha. All right, so we just ask for half a liter then if we're in Germany or elsewhere.
Yeah, I actually got a message from our very own 23 EJB. He says it's 0.5 in German. I'm going to try this. It's 0.5. So
Okay.
it's terrible pronunciation. I'm sorry, but I appreciate
Yeah.
you letting me know.
I personally would probably butcher it too, so I'll say half liter. But thank you, Sabine, Slow King, and EJB for the comments there. And hey, we saw EJB this past weekend too, or past week,
We
a couple
did.
times too. Always good to run into him. He's a great battler, but also a really nice guy as well.
He
So,
is.
um, yeah, it was good to see. He was running a double too. We'll talk more about that in the EUIC segment. Ben Stram says, "I thought Death Diaries were every 3 months each season. Uh, it's possible. We could be wrong. What did we say? 2 months? Either way, I
Something
don't
like
think it's been
that.
coming every 3 months either, right? When's the last one? We've had one every half year, I think.
Dude, so bad.
Yeah. Whatever the number is, it definitely is at a less frequent rate than what's expected.
Mm.
Anyway. PvP Steve says Speedy really coming out swinging against dental hygiene. Shake my head.
Hey,
Wait,
come
what is that
on.
referring to again?
We made the analogy about expectations and like
Oh, yes.
breaking up
Yes.
about brushing your teeth and stuff.
Yeah, that analogy did not really fully connect in my mind, but you know what? I'm glad it. Well, I don't think it connected in Steve's mind anyway. Hopefully,
Well,
hopefully some people liked it.
well, they can't all be hits, Caleb, right? You know, even
That's true.
people like Elvis miss sometimes. You know,
You compare yourself to Elvis.
just saying, just saying.
Speediest Elvis 2 here. Sabine Keller says in 2022, Pokemon Go. Oh, this is in quotes by the way. Pokemon Go in-app purchase revenues surpassed 645.59 million US dollars worldwide. End quotes. That's what I found. This doesn't include the free-to-play players, of course. This tells me we are a bunch of people. Let's say each of us invests about $5. That might be enough to buy Pokemon Go from Niantic, including some developers who actually love that game. And then we become a community owned game developer, and all of a sudden we can choose new haircuts for our in game characters, raid remotely, nerf Lantern, and knocked out somehow, and live happily ever after. This is such a nice dream, isn't it? I still hope this inspires someone who knows how to pull off something like this. I hope so too. I mean, I'm not like the most business savvy person, so I don't know the logistics around selling like a part of a company off, right? Like I'm pretty sure Niantic can sell off on it, and if they don't even care to make money off of remote raids, I don't know if they're willing to try to make money off of someone trying to buy their company. But
Right.
yeah,
It's a nice dream. I mean, we can add the facial hair that Psionic mentioned like 2 years ago that he really wanted.
oh yeah,
Do you remember
that some
that?
people would help out with that. In the meantime, you should just shave your off your facial hair to represent your avatar.
Oh,
Until
you
we get
think
it.
so? You think so?
Until we get
Oh.
it, yeah.
Dude,
Speaking of bets too, we got updates on bets later as well.
I'm going for the Santa beard look. That's what I'm doing.
You gotta dye.
I gotta dye it though.
Bleach it.
Yeah.
Bleach it.
Maybe during the holidays.
See, I'm already thinking ahead for the next punishments.
Oh,
Always plotting. Always plotting. Joe Art says, "Hey, Caleb and Will, greetings from the Philippines. Hope all is well. Regarding the championship points, if this gets implemented over here in the Asia Pacific region, I do hope Play Pokemon organize will organize more tournaments. Currently, we only can possibly join 2 tournaments. One is the championship being held in Australia, and the other is an online tournament that combines most of the Asian countries. Even
wow.
even Australia is tough due to visa and financial constraints. Looking forward to episode 100. Anyway, we can snag a Battle Cat shirt. More power to you both. Shirts, we're working on it. Yeah, you're wearing it too, but we're working on it. Let's aim to have them available by episode 100. Actually, let's aim for that. But
Okay.
also, great point, Joe. Uh, yeah, I mean, I hope so. Like, I don't know. It's so tough because VGC and TCG have been around for so long, and even those regions struggle with implementing enough tournaments for these regions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I mean, it's just like there's not like they're not hosting VGC and TCG tournaments in these regions, right? And I think that might be a reason why there isn't as many, because there's not as much interest in those regions. I could be
Mm-hmm.
wrong. There could be a ton of interest and people just maybe giving up, or maybe there's a lot of noise around this topic, but we just don't know because we're not VGC or TCG. But if I were
Yeah.
to guess, proportionally speaking, I think there's probably more Go players proportionally than VGC and TCG players in these regions. Not proportional to the actual game, proportional to the actual population of VGC and TCG players from around the world. And that being said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying right now. All I'm saying is I agree with Joe. I hope they do something for the Asia regions, especially because
Yeah.
there's a lack there. But there's also a huge lack of regionals and tournaments in general, and the LATAM region as well, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Because Latin America is huge, and I feel like most of the tournaments are in Brazil, but they could definitely benefit by hosting some in other regions and countries, and
mhm.
also just having more of them.
Yeah, I think this season there were at least 2 or 3 regionals in Brazil plus LAIC. So definitely a lot of love shown to that country, which is great, right? We really enjoy going there. I think their player base is incredible. We saw the Sylph um, Battle Tower have over 200 registered players in
Hmm.
Argentina earlier this year as well. One point I wanted to make to Joe is that the Japan and the surrounding regions, that's all the umbrella of TPC, which is just the Pokemon Company. Whereas TPCI, the Pokemon Company International, is primarily what Caleb and I work with. That's like what we're doing, traveling around. It's going to be interesting to see how TPC decides to expand upon things because that's definitely the domain of the parent company there versus TPCI. And one of our casters, Wancho, has actually casted TCG not only for TPCI, which is Caleb and I's, umbrella, so to speak, but also for TPC. So he'd be a good person to talk to maybe about how the tournament format works and how the championship points will work as well.
Yeah, that's a great point too that you made. TBC is the Pokemon Company, and TBCI is the Pokemon Company International. And it seems
Yes.
like like all these companies work together, and they sometimes work with Niantic as well, and all this stuff. But like they're separate companies, and they operate oftentimes in very different ways in different realms. And you're
Mhm.
absolutely right. TPCI hosts like the Oceania International Championships and some of the oh my goodness, what's happening? Anyway, sorry, my cat like just completely like pulled the whole like Mufasa situation here. Her claws like literally dug into my chair. There's like holes in my chair now. I mean, it's not a big
Oh,
deal, but I'm just like, I wish that you
oh
could see
man.
that on camera. But anyway, um, oh yeah, her cat bed fell. That's why,
Oh, okay, okay. She's trying to tell you something.
dude. I know. In this situation, there's just Mufasa. I wasn't Scar, Scar at least was attentive. I wasn't even Scar. Um, but it's TPC that hosts the tournaments in like Japan. I guess it's the online tournaments as well, which is why a lot of times the
Mhm.
formats also look very different too, right? Because
Yes.
they're hosted by different companies, and the tricky part is I think TPC has to somehow give away some of that control to TPCI
Mhm.
to host those tournaments.
Mhm.
However, I don't know how that looks, right? How much does TPC want to continue hosting tournaments for their regions? Or maybe TPCI doesn't want to host these regions, or it could be a combination of those factors, or a bunch of things that we don't are aware of that aren't. Neither of those are true. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a tricky situation.
Well,
I think for Latin America, though, that's one that TPCI can probably do more involvement in. Because to my knowledge, I don't think TPC is involved in that. But again, budgets and all that stuff. However, I will say that based on what it looks like from TPCI in general from past
mhm,
years, like we're just constantly increasing more and more opportunities for players around the world.
mhm.
And the game's grown in not just for Go, obviously, right? But also for all the other stuff, all the other
Yeah.
games, VGC and TCG. Yeah.
Dude, I remember hearing a few years ago it was unheard of to get more than like 300 players for a VG
Mm-hmm.
tournament, and now we're like doubling that, no
Yep.
problem, selling out
Exactly.
easily. Something I
Exactly.
think something fundamentally changed after COVID. I'm not sure what it was, but people coming out. And yeah, just last thing I'll say on this, if you ever wanted like an online regional, right, where everybody could play, just imagine you had it, but it was against all the players in your area, in your region, and it was a best of one matchup, and you had to win a lottery just to get a ticket to compete, and then you had to play a best of one to advance, and that's how you earned a spot in a in like an online regional. That's literally what they have to do in Japan.
Yeah. It's pretty
It's
rough.
intense.
Pretty rough. Yeah.
Dude, I'm
Exactly.
gonna I'm gonna feed my dog while you read this next
Yes.
question. Be right
Yes.
back.
No problem. I will get
Give me
into it.
10 seconds.
Yes. Enrique says, "Thanks for the content, guys. What are you planning for episode 100? You have to invite Zion as a special guest for that one, please. Greetings from Peru." Hey, thank you for the comment, Enrique. We got some ideas. Maybe we will invite Zion, but you gotta stay tuned and see. But it was very good to see Zionic, especially in London this past week, and working with him as well for EUIC too. Um,
Mhm.
You're back in time for just your favorite commenter, Speedy. It's none other than
Enrique.
Manny. Well, I guess
Oh, Manny.
everything
No,
Enrique
no.
count. Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say it was awesome to see Zionic and EUIC. We'll talk about
Mhm.
this as well, I'm sure, but it didn't feel like he missed a step at all. All right, I
Oh,
got to read this question by Manning.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, Manning says Caleb is really trying to gaslight Speedy and my bromance. Shake my head. No way to break up this old Miss connection. The smirk face. Also funny to hear a Jets fan in quotations trying to roast the Giants. P.S. But by the time you're reading this, I'm already in your DMs to get full info on that suit guy. We'll be back in the US in August.
Dude, I'm just yeah, my suit guy came in clutch. If you haven't seen EUIC stuff, I got some fresh fits. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I had my same gray suit, but I had a new black suit and I had a new like a burgundy velvet suit. And it was
It
my
was
suit guy came
nice.
in clutch, you know. Came in clutch. This guy knows what he's doing. I actually got a DM from Manning on Instagram. He said in response to one of my pictures, he said, "Straight fire. Your suit game really went from high school prom / lousy salesman to Wolf of Wall Street / Great Gatsby in under a year." Dude, honestly, that's hilarious, and I cannot even fault him for that, Rose, because it was rough. It was rough a year ago, gotta say. But
Dang.
trying to up our game, in both fashion and commentary. Gotta do it all,
Exactly.
right?
You got to look good to feel good, right?
That's true. I was not feeling good after those roasts last year on Twitter, and I still made it
Ooh.
work. But like, yeah, I don't know. We also seem to wear ties more often than the other games. I feel like the tie is like the way to go.
Mhm.
Did you
Agreed.
explain to everyone your tie situation, your tie thing? Because I don't know if you changed your philosophy on this. I was never a fan.
Dude, I feel like I've seen this in other games as well. I feel like if you have a 3-day event, right? Friday,
Which we did recently.
you can be a little more casual, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you wear like a collared shirt or a button-down shirt for Friday and some pants, right? Some nice shoes. Saturday, you step it up, right? You wear the suit, but you wear open collar. And then Sunday, you go with the tie, the 3-piece, the tie clip, the pocket square. You just max out on Sunday. I think it's cool to have a progressive look because it
I
means like
don't know.
you're taking Championship Sunday more and more seriously.
Okay, I don't
So
disagree with you on that, but I do think that you're taking it too casual by not even wearing a tie on day one, right? I'll give you my general setup, right? Day one, I had the tie. Or I guess I had a tie and suit for day one and day two. But day three, I had the bow tie, I had the nice velvet suit, the loafers. Like I try
yeah,
to amp it up that way, right? But there's still like some type of like formality there. You wore a tie this past weekend though, right? On day one.
I
Like you
did.
weren't like
I did.
you didn't follow your trend.
Bro, you think I'm going to be the only one out of the 3 guys not wearing a tie?
See, peer pressure works. Peer pressure works.
Sometimes it does, yeah.
Oh, I guess I got the last laugh on that one.
For
Maybe if Two
now.
Butters was there, you would have no tie.
Dude,
No tie.
last
He'd
time
be top button buttoned up.
last time Two Butters and I were at the same event, it was exactly that. 2 of us with no tie.
Oh, it was me and Wholesome with the tie
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
Wayne.
Well, Wholesome had a turtleneck, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. He'd be looking like the Rock. I forgot about that. Yeah, the gold chain and everything. That guy's
Accurate.
all about the fashion. I gotta try to keep up. So who is Josh says? Dev's diary? You mean devastating diaries? I think there's a whole encyclopedia dedicated to Niantic's botches. Volume 1 through 6, in-game disasters, and 7 through 12, communication with the community. I know it's getting boring talking about this, and I am too. This is what Niantic's counting on. But
Yep.
on the sentence on the update of remote rate passes, the preservation of the game for the future to all players, in quotes. What demographic are Niantic now trying to lure in? Pokemon is a generation thing, and majority of the community are 21 plus years old. I
Mm-hmm.
know there will be younger, but Pokemon came out in the mid 90s, and fast forward 2016, it drops. We were all the prime age for nostalgia. Now there isn't ever going to be that psionic boom of player base again influx.
Oh.
But they couldn't even fill a junior world championship in London for under 18, so they ditched that quickly. Most players are now 7 years older, and life has continued to by having families, and a lot now have higher commitments than Go. The next
Mhm.
generation under 16 technically won't have this disposable income to buy the in-game items because really Pokemon is a kids program targeted to us in the 90s, age 8 through 12. These kids at this age aren't playing this game how we play it. I'll be surprised if they can make if they could name the first 151 Pokemon. This game is far from free to play for competitive. Sorry, I keep rambling on Caleb, Mr. Dumpy, but it's refreshing to have these talks and not to be a filtered content creator. I'll one day have a positive, less naggy comment in the future. Squirrel Trapper, I'm coming, brah. Yo, a bunch of these comment out here. Speaking of Squirrel Trapper, yo, we met Squirrel Trapper actually at London.
Dude, it turns out there might be more than one Squirrel Trapper as well.
Dude, yes. Let me get the backstory. We're walking around, right? Actually, no, the first time it happened, we were at one London's finest social event at a pub, and guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm Squirrel Trapper." I was like, "No shot, you're Squirrel Trapper," right? And he's like, "Nah, I'm just kidding. But I love the podcast. So great to meet. I love like meeting people in the community that makes like inside jokes on the podcast.
Yes.
One, you know, they're a dedicated listener if they know Squirrel Trapper, right? And two, that they would even go that far and introduce themselves. Dude, Squirrel Trapper has got to be on future merch. I already got it, right? We need Squirrel Trapper merch, right? It's like have you seen Walking Dead with the Negan arc?
Course.
Do you know how they're always like, I am Negan, right? Everyone's I am Squirrel Trapper, right? Everyone's Squirrel Trapper. But the funny part is on the last day, I'm sitting up on the main lounge stage area. It's like slightly elevated, and some guy's by the barrier. He's like, "Hey, Caleb." I was like, "Hey, what's up?" So I walk over. Like, we didn't start the show yet. I just introduced myself. I was like, "Hey, like, how's it going?" And like, "Hey, different guy, right?" I said, "I'm Squirrel Trapper." I love it. Two separate people with the same inside joke. I loved it. I was like, "No, you're not." He's like, "Nah, I'm not." But he's like, "I love the podcast and everything." So it was great to see. Honestly, here's the thing: people got to start introducing them by their actual names. So I'm getting confused on how many Squirrel Trappers there are and like how many non-Squirrel Trappers there are. But,
dude,
yeah,
this is so funny from my perspective. The first one was at the bar. And we're all like hanging out, London's finest social, like you said. I'm in a conversation with Carl and a few other people. And then you tap me on the shoulder and you like point to this guy standing in front of you. You're like, "Yo, this is the real Squirrel Trapper right here." You like try to convince me, right? And I look at him. He's like not smiling or anything. He's like serious, right? He's like, "Yeah, man, I need to talk to you about the podcast." And I like look at him and I'm like, "There's no way." And I just turn around and continue my other conversation. And then to your point, in the actual venue, I met that same guy, but it wasn't over at the stage. I was actually walking to the stage and he like stands up from his seat, walks over to me like quickly and like puts out his hand. He's like, "Yo, Speedy, I'm Squirrel Trapper, man." And I shake his hand. I look at him. He's like, "Nah, I'm just kidding, but I like the podcast." So we both met the same guys.
Good. So good. Maybe Squirrel Trapper has a twin. They are twins. They are twins, Squirrel Trapper twins.
Could be. But to answer the question though, I really sincerely did not even think about it like that. And that's a huge revelation, right? That it's a generational marketing play. Because for me personally, for you as well, dude, like we put down Pokemon around the crystal version or silver and crystal version. And now we're like back into it more so than ever. And it's just amazing to think that Go was the catalyst for that. Without Go, we wouldn't have even looked this direction.
Yeah, and I really love Josh's point about how since the games come out, right, most players are now like, well, not most players, all players are 7 years older, right? And life has continued by having families, and a lot has now, a lot of us have more commitments. Dude, that's so true. Not us specifically, right? But just think about some of our friends, right? I know a friend, like our friend Lyndon, right? Gets engaged. No, not even since the game came out, since PvP came out, right? Gets engaged since PvP comes out, which is like around 2019. Gets married, and then has a newborn. All since PvP came out, let alone since Pokemon Go comes out, right? So just think about like the life cycles people have gone through and the life changes people have gone through since then. That's just one example, right? Shout out to our friend Lyndon. But I know plenty of people that Zionic as well, a great example, right? I think when I first met him, he was already married, but he definitely didn't have kids, right? Now he's a father of 2, right? Like he's got dad jokes for days, like dad aesthetics, dad everything, right? But and so much has changed. And that was again just prior to PvP, let alone since the game came out in 2016. Just imagine when the game came out, because PvP came out 3 years after that. So yeah, like so much has changed. Like it's so weird because like we grew up with the Pokemon game and now we're like growing up again in a different part of our life with Pokemon Go.
Dude,
And it's
mind blowing.
yeah, it's a shame that like in some parts of the game it's not getting better. But I mean, the
Yeah.
game is a night and day compared to what it was in 2016. So there's always that to reflect on. But again, please, Niantic employee, let us know. Let us know if you're out there. Blink twice or something, right? Please, like,
Yeah.
do what you can. Again, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're already on our side. But keep fighting the
Yeah.
good fight, man.
If this is going to be a forever game, I feel like Niantic needs to build in some generational marketing as well, because it doesn't feel like that's even on their radar at this point.
Yeah, but we'll see. So for the best. Michael Davis says, you guys were talking about how much better the production is this season for Play Pokemon stream. I'd love to see some instant replays for when one of the players are requesting a rematch. Then the viewers can see the footage while the refs are making a decision. It's not a bad idea. I don't know if they want to go down that route, but I don't think that's the worst idea. In fact, it could give the caster something to talk about, right? Because we're just speculating. I think the hard part is the judge needs to cue in production, be like, "Hey, this is what the player's talking about. Let's take a look at this while we're reviewing it." I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea. We don't have instant replay in general, but instant replay could be pretty cool. And hey, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about football, right? Like even when the refs are making a call, if somebody's like out of bounds on a catch, the commentators can still rewind it, watch it back, and like point out what they think happened. But then again, the refs might have different opinion. I think Pokemon really wants to protect the integrity of the judging process, and they're worried that the judges will, be influenced or be interpreted in such a way that could be unfavorable. So I don't know. That's generally out of our hands, though, for the most part.
But I mean, I don't think it's a terrible idea. It's something that maybe I'll bring up to someone in the Pokemon company and see if what they think. No guarantees, but it's always good to have suggestions, right? Nathan actually agreeing as well. That's a good idea, along with a little breakdown too. Exactly. Palmer's up, my friend.
Let's go, Polly.
Caleb with the day after tomorrow reference. There's a joke amongst my friends that the only movie I've seen is The Matrix, which is not true. I only make Matrix references because they're a bunch of bots that I talk to every day. They're a bunch of Agent Smiths, right? They all think the same, right? They all talk in code. I'm sitting here like Neo before he got unplugged, right? I don't know what's going on, right? Oh, what rabbit? Anyway, he says, really branching out from the Matrix movie reference I see. Look, Polly, I'm just saying. I've seen plenty, man. I've seen plenty. What was one movie I watched recently on the plane? I'm like blinking. I rewatched Good Will Hunting. That was always a good movie.
Oh, was it good?
Yeah. You never seen Good Will Hunting?
No, I actually have not.
Oh, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
it's old
that's
school.
A classic.
Yeah, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's like breakout movie. I mean, they won Best Picture, right? Has Robin Williams in it. Has I forgot his name. Skarsgård.
Is it
like,
Skarsgård?
He's like a big. I don't know. I forgot what his name is, but he's really famous though too. He's a professor in that movie. He's Alexander like Skarsgård's like father, which makes sense.
Okay,
kind of look similar.
Yeah, so it's both the Afflecks. It's Ben and Casey, Robin Williams.
Yeah, Casey Affleck's in it too. Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård. Yeah.
So they definitely have some famous people in it too. But
nice.
The Gym Jammer says, I will also be competing in Hartford. I was first match on stage in Toronto, and I was pretty nervous. Oh, I do remember that, actually. If I end up on stage in Hartford, I think it would be funny to match against Crimson K19 if he's going. Him and I could figure out a way to get a laugh out of you guys. Crimson's great content, dude. I think Crimson on stream would be a good time regardless. So,
agreed.
But
also, I like the attitude, right? Jim Jammer said he was nervous, or they were nervous the first time, and want to go back on stream. I think that's a great attitude as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the more you do it, the easier it gets, right? I think I think you just gotta I like to think of the stream matches as a good way to like show off a bit, right? Have fun with it, but also like if there's any disputes and stuff, like the judges are all watching and stuff, so like theoretically speaking, most games should be resolved pretty cleanly, right? So I just play without any like reservation, just go for it.
Yeah, of course.
Dude, I almost got swept by Shadow Gliscor on my first stream match, though.
I still don't know how you got out of that, but that's another topic.
Dynamic Punch Medi, man, against Sableye. That came in clutch. Yeah. Nathan Bocci says, The LeBron and MJ comparison has come up twice now. Speedy got to know, why is MJ your GOAT?
Dude,
Why is MJ your
so
GOAT?
first of all, never been a big basketball guy. Never really played it in school. And then when I got to college, my roommate was actually a big basketball fan, and his family was a huge supporter of Michael Jordan and the everything Chicago, right? Bears, the Bulls, loves the teams. But what really changed my mind is that I watched The Last Dance, and I just think that yeah, there's just a couple things, right? Just the way that Michael Jordan executed, the way that he just he almost like I don't know how common this is now, obviously, but he like ran his own team in a lot of ways. A lot of people thought that the coach is just like a figurehead because Michael Jordan was the real brains and the balls behind a lot of
I mean, he
the
had Phil
decisions that
Jackson,
were
though,
made.
right?
Yet he did have Phil Jackson, one of the best coaches ever, right? So maybe that's an unfair statement, but
Did he have Phil
at this
Jackson, or did Phil Jackson have MJ?
exactly, that's the question. It's like, does Belichick have Tom Brady or does Tom Brady have Belichick? Right? You
He can
never
have
really
he can
know.
have Tom Brady forever. But Phil Jackson did also
Exactly.
have Kobe, or Kobe had Phil
Yeah.
Jackson.
Exactly, right? So, yeah, I watched The Last Dance. I feel like that era of basketball, the physicality of it, the way that they played. I mean, dude, the way that they would play against the Pistons and how physical they would be, you could never do that in today's NBA. I don't want to hear this, this stuff about, people being lazy or whatever generationally or being more soft generationally. That's a whole nother debate. But the way that they played then was like unbelievable. You could not get away with that. But yeah, and the last point I'll make, I feel like it comes down to the championships, right? I mean, it's great to be consistent, but I feel like no matter what the clock said, no matter if there was 30 seconds left, no matter if he was down by 1 point or 100 points, Michael Jordan was always 100%. And sometimes you can look at somebody like LeBron, and maybe the season's been going on. Maybe the Lakers are like they are now, where the season's like really split win loss, almost 50%. And it just feels like LeBron just kind of turns it off sometimes. I don't know. It just, I think I don't want to question anybody's commitment, but I feel like the intensity is different amongst those two players.
Yeah, and also the success rate in NBA Finals is starkly different.
Dude, yeah, I've watched video breakdowns where they actually take the percentages of like the clutch shots, like within 10 seconds, who makes more clutch shots? Is it LeBron or is it Jordan? And Jordan like smashes him in that category, right? But overall consistency, LeBron is definitely better, but it just feels like Michael Jordan also has a smaller sample size. So this debate could go on and on. We had this debate about Wolfie and God, I always forget his name. The guy who won Worlds 3 times in a row.
Oh, it's Drew, something
It's
Rizzo.
Rizzo with an R. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. I love to hear your opinion on that, Nathan. If you haven't watched The Last Dance,
Rizzo,
I highly recommend it. Ray Rizzo, RR. But if you want me to look up something on LeBron and watch that, I'll watch that as well.
Yeah, I just think to be fair, we also grew up watching LeBron more than MJ because we were probably too young to watch MJ perform. But
true.
I don't know, man. That dude, he also even played MLB.
He did. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't the best, but like a two-sport athlete in the pros is almost impossible these days.
What's his name? Someone else did that too. Dude, primetime football player.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Dude, I forgot his name.
Sanders?
Yeah. Dude.
Deion Sanders.
That guy was a monster too.
Yep.
Yeah, he was actually like just a freak athlete.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Daniel Oliveira says, "Hey guys, I know I'm off topic, but I gotta ask, what's the best way for you guys to count fast moves while keeping track of opponent's count for throwing charged attack at optimal time? I'm used to counting my fast moves, but I lose track of how many my opponent's already thrown, and when I see in a disadvantage because I lost his count, especially in 2-turn versus 3-turn and 3-turn versus 2-turn. Do you instead count the opponent's fast moves and already know how such when to throw?" Yeah, that's a great question. I personally still count my own fast moves, but it does come at the cost of losing track of my opponent's counts. So that is definitely a flaw in that design. However, sometimes if I'm not trying to optimize, I'm trying to go for catches more, I'm going to count their fast moves, right? And if I am going for just optimizing, knowing that, like, let's say I'm like a Pelper, I know I could tank a power whip from a Frothorn, then I'm just going to count my own, right? Like, there's no point. And sometimes also, if you play enough matches in a certain meta, you know around when they get to certain moves, like timing wise, like how many your fast moves. So that's always a good indicator. But yeah, that's my general play. Of course, it's not the best option. I think the most efficient way is to count your opponent's fast moves for timing purposes instead of your own. So you just flip like the timing on the other way around. But
Yeah.
I just always have a better time counting my own. What about you?
So I'm actually going to argue the opposite of your point here, because what I've noticed, especially in the past year, is a lot of visual and audio inconsistencies from my opponent. So it feels
Mhm.
like you know the pacing of a wing attack, right? One every second. It feels like sometimes I'll see one wing attack, then two, then a pause, then three, and then four. And these moves will just come in at unpredictable intervals. And what I've started to do, because that drives me insane, it drives me crazy that it's unpredictable and it's not even. And I play
Mm.
on the iPhone 14 Pro, and I still have these visual issues.
Dude.
So for me, I actually have started counting my own moves much more. And you have to do some extra math, right? Like if I do 7 powder snows, if I'm playing Wall Rain, and my opponent is a 3-turn user like a Snarl Umbreon, I have to like say, okay, I've got 14 turns based on the interval when they threw. They probably have 15 turns, right? Because they throw in intervals of 3. So you have to do a little bit of like translation in terms of math, but I honestly find it more helpful because trying to count your opponent's fast moves, and that's not even to mention the audio, dude. Lately, the
Uh-huh.
audio feels like it's on a different track than the visual.
I don't even
It's
play
like,
with audio, but I know you do.
dude, you ever watch a movie? I try to, but I've been turning it off. You ever watch a movie where like the dub and the actual actors' lips are desynced?
I don't
That's
watch dub,
literally
man. You gotta watch
that's
dub, dude.
literally I know. I'm just saying like at least once in your life,
I know,
right?
I know, I know, I
Where
know.
they like try to talk and like the voice actor's off. But anyways, that's what I get from PvP, and I'm really frustrated with it at this point because man, like it's no excuse, you guys. God,
I got a question for you.
go ahead.
How hard was it to count my Bastion Smackdowns this past weekend?
Ah, dude, we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about that. Don't worry.
Don't worry, we will. We will.
You
Yo,
jump in the gun.
our favorite guys here, Squirrel Trapper, baby.
Let's
Dude, this is
go.
the
Instant
craziest part,
like.
right? They like, yeah, it's like this person's a huge hater, and they're listening to like every episode for whatever, God knows whatever reason. These episodes are over an hour long consistently, right? And
They're
yeah, I
hate
don't know,
listening.
dude. Anyway, you got to give them props for the dedication. But here we go.
I
Here
do.
comes the hate comment, the weekly hate comment. The self-important, delusional shoutcasters who think Pokemon Go PvP is the next Valorant or League of Legends. LOL. To be fair, I don't think any of us ever claimed it's going to be the next Valorant or League of Legends, right? Come on now. Come on now. League of Legends, a whole league of its own. I think Valorant's like one of those games that might go in and out, right? I mean, it's popular right
Yeah.
now, but that one might flex in and out. League of Legends has been a mainstay for a while, but you could say the Pokemon company has VGC and TCG has been mainstay for a long, long time as well. Anyway, continuing on. EUIC could barely maintain 1,000 views. You really think you're going to make it big? Laughing emoji. Pokemon Go can't even get their own players to like PvP. If you actually stepped out of your bubble and analyzed the game objectively, you would see that it's a boring mess that can't even begin to compare to real esports. But keep telling yourselves Pokemon Go PvP is the next big esport if it helps you sleep at night. You know what helps me sleep at night, Squirrel Trapper? Is that not only will we always have a comment from you, we're always going to have a view from you, and soon we'll have merch ripping off your entire identity, and only we profit from it, not you.
I
But
love
hey,
it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Squirrel
I love
Trapper, please don't ever change. Don't ever change.
it. Please don't. Honestly, Squirrel Trapper, if you stop commenting on our videos in the future, people are going to be like, why do you all have Squirrel Trapper merch? What does this even mean?
I know, right? Then it won't make any sense. That could be the
Yeah.
worst thing they could do to us. So I hope they don't.
Dude, every hero needs a good nemesis, and we need a good Squirrel Trapper, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
this is almost, you know what this is kind of like?
What?
Cowboy Hat Caterpie. Cowboy
Okay.
Hat Caterpie is pure existence on Twitter is to get a Cowboy Hat Caterpie. If they ever have a Cowboy Hat Caterpie one day, there's no more meaning.
Dude.
There's no more
Yeah.
meaning in that account. What are you gonna do?
Mike Law might just like evaporate like a Thanos snap or something. He might just
Yeah.
disappear.
Yeah, for those that don't know, there's a guy on Twitter called Cowboy Hat Caterpie, run by account Mike Nerd Law, I think. He's actually
Yeah.
a lawyer too, which is why the
Yeah.
law is in the name. Dresses up as Caterpie with a cowboy hat, posts about wanting a cowboy hat Caterpie on every single post, official post from Pokemon Go and
Yeah.
Niantic, and
Dude.
has a massive, huge following because of it for years. But here's the thing: if they ever give it a cowboy hat, what are they going to do, right? No more meaning in
Dude.
life. Same thing with Squirrel Trapper. What are we gonna do without Squirrel Trapper?
Did you see Pokeminers post on April Fools?
Oh, was it Cowboy Hat Caterpie?
Yeah, they said they mined a Cowboy Hat Caterpie on April Fools.
Best holiday
I love
ever.
it. Dude, I saw it. I was like, oh my God, is that really it? No. But okay,
Yeah,
to address Squirrel Trapper's points, right? I mean, I had to mute myself when you were reading the question because I was crying so hard. So the first thing is that Valorant is definitely the current banner carrier for old school FPS games, right? Like old school professional esport FPS games. It's not Battle Royale. Exactly. It's not Battle Royale. It's not Call of Duty. It's not Halo or anything else. It's actually a little bit similar to something like Halo, but it's the banner holder for like an entire category of games, and it's the latest iteration to hold that title. Also incredibly popular. League of Legends took the better part of a decade to become as big as it is, so there's that. And I'll tell you what, Squirrel Trapper, Valorant and League of Legends have something in common, which basically every other company on Earth has in common. They are not as big as Pokemon. Pokemon is the biggest brand in the world by far. Biggest brand in the world. And if anything has the potential to make it big, it's got to be Pokemon. But yes, we do live in a bubble. We don't analyze anything, and don't ever stop commenting. I love the clown emojis. If you don't look at the comment, he put like 3 laughing faces and 2 clown emojis. Don't ever change, Squirrel Trapper.
Are you the left clown or am I the left clown?
Dude, comes first? Depends on how the podcast is laid out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Maybe Squirrel Trapper is actually 3 people, right? 3 laughing emojis. It's 3 Squirrel Trappers. We met the first 2. We haven't met the third one yet. Dude.
The Trinity of Squirrel Trappers.
The Trinity. I love it. I love it, dude. You're not gonna get me with hate comments. You're gonna just make my day. Anyway, Twastel says, "Great League is in GBL for the next 2.5 weeks straight. Sounds like the perfect time for a Bastion stream." Cough, cough. That's right.
That's he ain't wrong.
That's
he ain't wrong.
My team killing it too,
dude.
You saw it put in work at EUIC. Yo, we were just battling and stuff. I was killing it. Climbed the leaderboard.
You mean your double Sableye team or
double ghost? No, come on now.
That's actually a good point, dude. I started streaming again. I've got GBLA. We did it yesterday. We're gonna do another one tonight, and then a third one tomorrow on Thursday.
Oh, snap.
Maybe this weekend.
Yeah, marathon. Hey, yeah. First time we don't really have anything this weekend, so
exactly. Bastion on stream this weekend, perhaps.
Dude, you're welcome for the elo games ahead of time.
Dude, I'm hyped.
Yeah. Justin Kim Wu says, "Great job casting EUIC, guys. Really enjoy what I was able to watch. Wasn't much, unfortunately. Those live stream times are brutal here on the West Coast." Hey, I appreciate you stopping by for even part of it. Yeah. I mean, 1 a.m. start time is pretty rough, right? For a stream time. He also says, "Some really interesting teams and Pokemon there. Much more varied, which I know you guys have already recognized and discussed. That made watching really interesting. What were your favorite team comps and strategies from the region? I thought Shadow Dragonair was pretty intriguing, has a lot of play into Lantern, Noctowl, Trev trio." Absolutely right. And he also says, "Speedy, thanks for the big 3 video. I thought that was a great example of the improvement in production over time. I recorded it for the kids." What was the big 3 video again?
First of all, that warms my heart. Thank you so much. It's the shield advantage, energy advantage, switch advantage video.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. I hope it helps, right? I mean, again, he talks about improving the production. That's all Daniel and our production team, right? Because they're commissioning these videos, they're getting us to produce them. And I really sincerely feel like it has enhanced the broadcast so much because so little in the game is actually explained, right? We don't even have like turn speeds or same type of attack bonus explained in the game, and you try to like enter to PvP and the barrier to entry is so high. So we're trying to make these streams a place where people can learn. Dude, you were actually telling me about Shadow Dragonair. You looked at some of the sims and you said it was, quote, dumb. It's real dumb.
Me?
Yeah. You said against Bastion in the 1s and the 0s?
It beats Bastion on the 1s and it beats Bastion on the 2s if you're up 1 Dragon Breath or 2 Dragon Breath.
2 Dragon Breaths.
Yeah. Dumb as in like stupid good. Yeah. Dude,
yes. Exactly.
You know, one of the few things that shuts it down, a freaking Como O, which is what I face against Butters at OCIC when I face off against him. Because I tried Shadow Dragonair into every game, but he had a Como O that chunked through it. And I was like, man, maybe this thing isn't as good. But no, the reality is no one brings Como in these tournaments, so you'll be fine if you avoid that and you avoid the fairies, right?
Dude, you remember, man, we feel like we were young men back then. Do you remember the first draft of your team for San Diego?
Oh, I had a Como.
You
That's
had a
true.
Como.
That's true. I
See,
did look into
maybe
Como. I was like, it's so bad. It's so
maybe
bad.
you're onto something, dude.
Oh,
I
it's
don't know.
so bad. Just run Dragonair.
Uh,
just don't bring Dragonair if you run to Como. Like at this point.
Como and Hartford. Como and Hartford. Confirmed.
I got a team in mind for Hartford, but we still got a couple weeks to
Ooh.
decide on that one. Yeah.
All right.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll do what we can. Uh oh yeah. Anyway, to say Justin was asking what were your favorite team comps and strategies from the region. Let's save it for the EUIC segment. We'll talk about that after this too. But yeah, I agree with you 100%, Justin. The innovation at EU is just on another level, right? I love seeing it too. I mean, we've seen a lot of innovation, even in LATAM too. I feel like NA could definitely work on some more creativity, right? But
Yes.
that's okay. We'll see how it goes. For the upcoming regionals. Uso 45 says Speedy must have pulled the analogy from a dark place in his past. Talk about the Russian team
Dude,
one.
don't want to talk about it, Uso, but thanks for the comment.
Be Whiskered Beard says, "Hey, Caleb and Will, just a question I want to put to you both. In regard to alterations in the game world, IV training break the game. Obviously, there would have to be some limitations that would need to be added, but imagine if you could turn a 15, 15, 14 shiny into a hundo. Possible implement something such as IV points that can be collected through raids, battles, or even PvP. The points could either be positive or negative point, as well as attack, stamina, and defense points. This would be very rare points, and you could even dilute them down the points, so 10 points equal 1 IV point. Big fan of the pod and always listening to on my morning and afternoon commute. Thanks. Hey, thank you again for Be Whiskered for the comments. And I think that's an interesting point. I don't know if Niantic would ever go down that route, but I think if they do, it'd be something super, super rare, right? It'd be cool though.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool actually if they had something super, super rare because of it. Because you could train your IVs in the main series game and up the IVs by one. I don't think you can't downgrade the IVs, but B Whisker did mention, hey, maybe you could drop an IV point, which would be cool. There's two problems with that. One, I mean, obviously, implementation of 9 will even go down that route, and two, if they can, because it's not a possibility in the main series game. So I don't know if there's any limitations with the actual like intellectual property of Pokemon to implement something like that. But it'd be cool if they could. Funny enough, our friend Palmer's Up, who we heard comment earlier, has been on this train for like years. Like he's been saving Pokemon that are like they're like 1 IV point too high. Like he's like, oh, it's instead of like a one, it's like a 1 15 15 instead of 0 15 15. And like the 0 15 is like rank 1, the 1 15 is like a rank like 500 or something because the power ups is like weird. He's like, well, what if they have like a reverse bottle cap where you like reduce one the IV points? I was like, how long ago store this for in your stores, man? It's been years. Like, I mean,
For
I think
real.
it's interesting to like, I don't know, until we hear an official word that that's possible. I don't know. I think increasing the IVs by 1 point though is definitely a possibility down the road. I don't know if Niantic will go down that route, but who knows?
Yeah. So Caleb brings up a good point about the IP that's tied to Pokemon. They definitely need to get approval for something like that because then you open yourself up to all kinds of manipulation in terms of IVs and how players would like min max that. I mean, at this day and age, you can't put it past somebody to like bought in 100 accounts and then just like farm this kind of resource, right? If they're given the opportunity. I will. Oh, I had another point as well. I will say that Niantic's mission is always something that we have to consider, and that drives all their decisions. And they want people to go outside and catch stuff, and anything that reduces that is not going to get approved. So anything that reduces the amount that people actually go out and play Pokemon Go is not going to get the green light. For example, if you wanted to have like I thought about this. What if you had a battle pass for GBL for the entire season and every day you got 6 sets instead of 5, but you pay like $20 at the start of the season to get that benefit? I don't think Niantic would ever go for that because playing GBL already means that you're stationary and that means you're not outside, moving around playing Go. So I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think this IV thing, as fun as it is and as useful and practical as it is, I don't know if it'll happen either. Dude, I saw a video on Twitter where this guy, I'm blanking on his name, but he's dressed like a 1930s speakeasy gentleman, right? He's got like the hat on, he's got the suit and the tie. He caught a Lickitung from GBL and he's like, wait, why doesn't this thing have more appropriate PvP IVs? I think that should just be a default for GBL encounters. Like, it just would make sense, right? If you're playing in the Go Battle League, you get resources for the Go Battle League. Why is it random? Because it doesn't make any sense. And that's a good point as well. I would like to see maybe a little bit of a skewed IV spread. But then again, that's another IP that Pokemon can't really talk about. Like, we're not allowed to dive into IVs during the broadcast, right? And that's across all titles. It's not a secret. You can't mention that in VG or anywhere else. So I don't know.
Well, it's really only VG, right? There's not going to be IVs for like Trading Card Game or Unite.
But, well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I do get you. I mean, I agree with you, right? I think Niantic wouldn't go for like, a battle pass that gives you more sets. But yo, think about how many more people get into PvP if you have a battle pass, and at the end of the battle pass, the regular battle pass we have, you get a bottle cap once per season, even once every other season. Dude, way more people be PvPing. Instant way to get people to PvP. But again, not a Niantic priority at the moment. So,
exactly.
There's a lot of ways though to improve participation. We just need Niantic work with us here a little bit. Ryan Colgrove says,
"You want me to take this one?"
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so Ryan comes in here, right? Ryan's one of my buddies. He says, "LOL, crush is what I meant." I think he had a typo in his last comment last week. Usually I'm pretty good with my proofreading. Today I missed it. I love how crust became a whole talking point. Okay, so it's not a thing. So I just made up the interpretation.
Dude, I love how your brain went there though, because if you don't know what we're talking about, last week Ryan Colgrove wrote crust in his sentence, and we thought like we're reading into what that meant because it didn't make any sense.
We thought it meant like push something to the border, like the rim of your mind, and not really focus on it. So, anyways, what I really want to comment here is Speedy and Caleb are my solid NBA casuals. LeBron obviously is the GOAT. No hate on Michael. He is a solid second on the greatest of all time category. Hard to question LeBron's continued greatness and longevity. Mike dipped in his prime to suck at baseball. Okay, it's a different sport. And don't let the Last Dance fool you. We had an all-star cast for many of those years in Chicago. Okay. And of course, LeBron had some super teams he was on as well. Mike is amazing and catapulted basketball into the next stratosphere in the 90s. But LeBron is the only correct answer as the greatest of all time.
I don't know. If you talk about stats, I mean, like, yeah, he's more longevity. He's played more games, so obviously his stats are better. But like, I don't know. Look, let's put it this way. If okay, I think a good metric of recognizing greatness is by other great players, right? Or great, anything of anything, right? So, what other better metric than the current players of the NBA? And I feel like most players in the NBA current players will still say MJ is the greatest of all time. They won't say LeBron is, even though LeBron is playing against them right now, active, right? They're still not saying that. And past players are definitely not going to be saying LeBron, right? They're all going to be saying MJ for sure because they play with MJ, right? But even the current players, like, who are we, right? We're all a bunch of casuals when it comes to basketball, right? We never made it that high up, right? No matter how much we watch, right? But there's a difference between seeing the greatest based on stats and playing the greatest, right? Doesn't matter. It's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like, regardless of what your stats say, right? If you go into the court with one-on-one with someone, like, it doesn't matter what your stats are, like, you already know, like, this, like, it's kind of like, I don't know. I guess like PvP is a good example, right? You can pad all your stats all you want, right? You can have all these stat lines, but when you go and, like, when it comes down to the line, you actually do like a best of 5, best of 7 with someone, you could tell the skill difference level, right? You can see it, right? Like the best players might have like no elo and GBL, and some of the worst players, might have a ton of elo, right? Or have a bunch of achievements, or have a bunch of like reps underneath their belts. But they might be like LeBron. They just done it. They just attended a lot of tournaments, right? They attended a lot of events,
Dude, you know what I wonder as well is if Ryan would still say this if LeBron was still with the Cavaliers or the Heat. I think it helps a little bit that LeBron's a Laker. I think it helps. I'm just saying, so? Ryan, let us know. I think it helps.
You think Ryan jumped on the bandwagon that quickly?
I don't know.
The disrespect, man. He even said, don't let the Last Dance fool you.
I know. An all-star cast. Yes and no.
I don't know.
I'll
I
tell
feel
you
like
what.
MJ made the cast better, right?
I'll tell you
Like
what.
LeBron literally had like D Wade on his team, right? Like already like a star-studded like cast with um Chris Bosh and
Yes.
what's his name? Ray Allen. Like what? Like these are like already like very well accomplished players, not players that became accomplished because they're on the same team as MJ.
So here's the question, right? If you compare the NBA super teams from today versus the super teams from the 90s that Jordan was on, the teams today would smash the teams in the 90s. That's not even close.
Dude, the fact that they even let Durant and Steph Curry on the same team
I
back in the day, dude, I was like, what is the commissioner doing right now? Like, this is your one job, right? Not your one job, but this is like one of the most crucial pieces of your job, right? Like, how do you not let like a washed up, what do you call it? Not washed up, but what was it? Yeah, they wouldn't let Chris Paul, like an older Chris Paul,
Oh
on the
yeah.
same
Yeah.
team with an even older Kobe Bryant back in the
Yep.
day.
Yep.
But they let two young players that are some of the best in the league on the
In their
same team,
primes.
the best player in the league onto the best team on the league. Like what? There are
I
two
know.
different commissioners, I believe, though, that I'm citing, but still.
Still, got to exercise those veto powers, you know.
Clearly. Something happening on the table or something there. I don't know, but
that's a huge
anyway.
accusation.
It is. Hey, NBA, come after me if I'm wrong. Well, I already got Squirrel Trapper coming after me too, so I could take another laughing emoji. Twastel says, third comment here. Sorry, I often listen to podcasts in chunks here or there, often over the course of a couple of days, so this happens sometimes. You know, funny enough, I'll scroll through comments. This is only the second comment from Twastel that I see. Maybe we missed something.
He deleted one.
Maybe it didn't pass the YouTube censorship. I don't know.
Oh.
We're just saying something because all the Squirrel Trapper ones do. All right, Twastel continues. I normally listen on Spotify with 1.25 speed. Well, I decided to listen to the last 10 minutes of the episode on here after I came to comment. My default YouTube speed is set to 1 times. What a preamble here. Anyways, I've just realized that I like the intro/outro song on 1.25 speed much better than its normal speed. Dude, Twastel, you did all this just to say this? Like,
we love Twastel.
Dude. Come on. My goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway. Twastel's one of those that I consider like almost like a bot, right? I almost loop in with like Dijon Deep, right? He's kind of a bot. He's maybe like kind of a hybrid, you know? I don't know. Cyborg maybe. Cyborg.
Jesus.
Anyway, I actually got a message on Twitter as well from a fan. Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Ariana says, love the podcast, catching up on the second last episode. If you want to practice your pronunciations, locals say Toronto as Toronto, right? TRONNO. Or yeah. Emphasis on the Tron part. So Toronto. Looking forward to next week. Thank you.
Awesome.
Ariana. And I said I would definitely be practicing before I visit Toronto again.
Nice. Toronto. We can do it.
I think there's enough other giveaways though that I'm not from Canada when I'm there. But
maybe a couple.
Maybe. Anyway, let's get into the meat of the podcast. I mean, we're almost an hour in, and here we are, standard just cover questions. But EUIC 2023, what a great time, dude! Almost one full year from EUIC 2022, and boy, has there been a lot of changes. I gotta say,
dude. 1 year of growth, right? I mean, we literally came in. I watched back the EUIC VOD. We didn't even have pins on because we didn't know that was a tradition.
Did we remember, we didn't have pins on at all?
Day one.
Okay. We had a day 2. Wow.
Yeah. And then we actually skipped makeup because we didn't know that was like something that happened at ICs.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got eventually put on, like makeup was put on us eventually.
Yeah. But they applied it while we were casting, right?
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, they pulled me aside. I think they touched some stuff up. I was definitely shining like a cue ball, right? I don't know what they used, but it's been better. Yeah,
dude, it's 1 year of growth, and it's so insane to see how far it's come.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, dude, honestly, one of my favorite experiences so far. Just good vibes. Everyone was so excited and happy, and I really like the crowd as well. It means so much when the crowd actually gets into it. Like we had at LAIC, you just feel different, right?
And I got a question, right? And not to like turn this into a negative, but I feel like the crowd, especially at EUIC and LEIC, was like way more into it than like NA crowds.
Oh,
Right?
shots
I mean,
fired.
look, I grew up in North America too, right? Like, I grew up in the United States and whatever. I'm American and I get it, right? But I feel like there's less cheers from the crowd, like less hype and stuff, like less support almost. Like I feel like EU and LATAM, maybe it's because there's a bunch of different countries coming in together at the same international region. There's a lot more country pride, right? And like, oh, like like Tauntaun, right? Winning it, French player as well too. You saw the French community show up for him and really cheer him on and stuff too, right? Like you saw, Sadasan and Nessa Beathan, right? Both UK players,
Mhm.
right? A lot of UK players cheering them on, right? And I feel like at NA, it was just like, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
Accent's a cool dude. We
It's
cheer him on, right? But it's like, I
it's
was
a
like, what are we gonna do? Like, oh, a bunch of like people from Arizona going to cheer him on, or is he from Arizona, or Utah? I forgot. Anyway,
I
someone
think
that
it's Utah. I
Utah,
think
right?
it's
But it's
Utah.
not a bunch of people from Utah cheer him on, or like it would just
Yeah.
be weird, honestly. Like if like a bunch of like a California one is not a bunch of California cheer him on, right? It would just be general people cheering on friends and stuff, but there's like a less like obviously there's a less country pride because most people are from the same country, but I'm just trying to
Yeah.
see like
It
I want to hear some hype, man. I don't care what country you're from or what state you're from. Like, I want to hear some hype from the crowd. I feel like everyone's just doing their own thing at NAIC, right?
Yeah. No, I honestly agree with you completely. If you saw at LAIC, whenever one of the LNDS trainers would go and play, all the other LNDS would
Oh,
cheer,
dude,
right?
that crowd
You
was
see like
hype.
you see the Brazil flag come up and everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was really, really fun. And then other countries as well, there'd be cheers. And then if you look at Europe, like you said, the whole crowd was shouting ton, ton, ton,
Uh
ton.
huh.
And a lot of it was the French players,
Yep.
right? I also
Exactly.
saw a French flag come out, right?
Yeah.
In the US, it feels like everyone is on their own. Like it's every man for himself or every woman for themselves, right?
Yeah. It's
And
very I think a lot of Western societies are like this in general, but the U.S.
mhm,
especially, it's a very individualistic society, right? It's
yes,
less so
yes,
collectivist, so I mean, that could play into it, but I think Western cultures in general are more individualistic. But
yes.
I don't know.
But
USC
honestly,
though
dude,
is something else.
honestly, this feels like a challenge to North America, right? I already had a challenge in mind. Seeing EUIC completely sell out 256 spots.
Yo,
Dude, if NAIC doesn't sell out North America, what are you doing?
what
What are
are
you
you
doing
doing?
with your life?
What are you doing, man? Book your
Dude,
flights now. Book it all,
do it
right?
right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally right now. Top
They,
4. Oh,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I want to mention this as well. The top 4 will all get the invitations. Of course, first and second place get the travel awards. In EUIC, because some of the other players had already qualified, those
Two of them.
invitations
Yeah.
actually went down. 2
Mm-hmm.
of them to
Two of
fifth
them.
and sixth place.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, dude, this is the one to be at, man. This
It
is the one to
is,
be at. I mean, we got this much hype around Hartford, Connecticut. Dude, you
dude.
best be showing up here. Let's pull up the Hartford, Connecticut account while we're at it
Oh,
here.
please! I want to
Yeah,
know. I want to
yeah.
know.
But while I'm looking this up, I want to hear your thoughts, firsthand accounts of what was it like facing my Bastion?
Oh, dude. Okay, so I will say, I won't say too much, but I will say, Caleb and I gave some input as to the pregame show on Friday, and I thought it went really, really well. We did a lot of fun things. We did the squad battles, caster versus caster, judge versus judge, and world champ versus world champ. We did the pack opening battles.
Mm-hmm.
We did the all shadow battles. I did against the Delion as well, and I thought it was really fun. Caleb and I did a squad battle, and this is what he's so excited to talk about. Caleb won. Caleb won 2-0, right?
And then the team
Um,
sweep though too. Team Caleb with the
he
sweep.
he brought this Pokemon called Frostlass that in my team building I totally did not account for.
Yo, my
And
Shadowman
even
chip
with
made no impact at all. That was such a bad
yeah,
pick. Like bad.
even even with favorable leads, I had a tough time against Caleb's team, especially because he back-ended it with Bastiodon every single time.
Mhm.
Dude, how did I do this? How did we talk about a meta and then I just allowed the meta to be dominated by Bastiodon?
But oh no, no, no,
That's
no, no.
like the
You
biggest
only
oversight.
your oversight. No, it's okay. Everyone has this oversight, right? You knew I was gonna bring Bastion on. You just had to bring the checks to Bastion, right? And that's it.
Dude, I brought 2 counter users. I brought DD, Toxicroak, and a Gliscor. And the Bastion was still a pain in the ass.
Dude. My Bastion built different. People would be trashing on Bastion on Twitter and stuff, like, oh, what an easy thing to beat. But There's levels to it, man. There's levels to it. It's me.
Lame.
Then it's CCO Bastion. Not
CCO.
as impressive. And then unfortunately Dancing Rob's Bastion was a little bit harder to use into Emmy Weedo's team, but
True.
there's levels to it, man. Good thing I'm glad you got to experience my Bastion firsthand, right? It feels different, right? It feels different.
That thing's a pain. There's one
it's
BM.
One Pokemon that did not get knocked out in both games. Close now with Bastion. Can't get rid of it, man.
There was one BM all weekend, and it was freaking your caster and role model, Caleb Peng, BMing.
Yeah, in our final game, I come with Bastion, throw a flamethrower at DD, the less effective move, undercharge it so I can smack it down.
Dude.
Just
saying, man, people look up to you. That's the image they're getting.
You know, it'd be like that, you know. What about you? They're looking up for, you're talking about, you know, I'm gonna beat down Bastion, all this stuff, and you didn't even bring Fortress. I was looking forward to your Fortress.
I brought Fortress in the shadow battles.
Yeah, that did not pan out so well.
And dude, against a Shadow Charizard, it wasn't great.
Oh my gosh, dude, that Charizard was doing work. Let's not forget that Shadow Omastar. What the heck? I think it was a one-shot Dragonair.
It's actually pretty fun, but yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that Dragonair would even be useful until I saw it. All right, Hartford, Connecticut, 153 registered players.
Woo! Let's go.
It's not bad, but like 156 is a cap, you know? Like we're not even past Utrecht.
Oh, we're not. And we're a far cry from Liverpool.
It is regional, so bring your Bastion counters. I said it here. But yeah, it was a great event too. Again, meeting with all the Europeans as well too. I mean, they're like all so friendly, right? And it's nice to see them at the socials and stuff. And you know, it was great to catch up with a lot of them too. And I feel like we saw a lot of them last year, not only at EUIC but also at London Worlds. So it's good to see a lot of them again, and a lot of new battlers too this time around. I think Coolstar threw her name in the hat for the first time, and Momita also, someone I talked about last season. I was like, "Are you're going to compete at EUIC, right? You better. Like it's going to be in the UK." She's like, well, we'll see. Not only did she compete here, she also competed at Liverpool.
Which is great.
A few weeks ago, a few months ago. So it's good to see more people trying out stuff too, and like almost like all the EU emperors were there, even CCO.
Yeah, even CCO, even the honorary ones.
Yeah. Well, he's actually a player now. He's actually on the active roster.
I like to call him honorary because it's funny.
He was honorary on the Cool Cats though until we gotta give him the boot.
So you give him the axe.
yeah. But it was good. And then we also have a showdown between Emmy Weedo and Dancing Rob, 2 reigning world champs in our squad battles. What a good time that was, right? But also something I love is that all these tournaments, I feel like we get a lot of new faces, right? Tauntaun, someone that we haven't seen as much. Winning it all. Nessa Beathan, right? Second place. Sasan, who's been a constant in a lot of these tournaments. So also, you know, good to see him back. But it's just like, it's so nice to have all these new trainers build a name and storyline for themselves. Because I think if you asked us before we ever had these tournaments, I say Speedy, who do you think the first 2 European international champions would be in the first 2 years, right? I don't think you would have named Ares and Tauntaun, right? In any world. No. And it's something that none of us even saw coming. Besides, I guess Amandine, but Tauntaun's a friend of hers too, so that makes sense. But yeah, it was great to cast with Amandine, Amanda, and Zionic as well too. Like you said, Zionic didn't even skip a beat, right? A year later, and from his last official commentary, and he was killing it too. So
he was fun. Absolutely.
But,
no, I had a great time, dude. I felt like the cast was great. I felt like the show was well put together. We're not going to talk about you almost breaking the show completely. We'll leave that part out for now.
Dude.
But
I will say, I'll share for our loyal podcast listeners, right? You get a little scoop on behind the scenes. There was at one point in time, I tried to plug my phone in to charge because my phone was dying, right? I had the adapter. I'm plugging in. The moment the prongs touched the surge protector, the production backstage, 4 monitors went black. Luckily, it wasn't in the middle of a battle. It was like in between battles. But because of that, you know, we had to stall a little bit. And if you saw any weird like glitches and stuff on stream, you can blame me for that. I take full responsibility. You know, it is, I don't know what happened. But
dude,
I apologize. I apologize profusely to our production crew, to the guys who's
Mm.
working with. They're very nice about it, but it did put a wrinkle in. So sometimes, it's not Niantic's fault. It's not TPI's fault. It's not the Wi-Fi's fault. It's just that dang Caleb Peng's fault. Trying to get some juice for his phone.
Yep,
So
yep.
yeah, sometimes technical things like that will happen, and for once, it was on me.
Well,
So
now now
anyway,
now
we
we
won't
know.
pinpoint the specific location of when that happened, but if you notice something, you could probably just blame it on me. Um, Speaking of
Fair.
things that did not go according to plan, in our first squad battle, I was lagging. And Speedy Chief had no remorse. He was just farming me down, right? Building up to all the energy. And at the end of the day, can't stop this Basio. You can't stop this
Yeah,
Basio.
I should have been a gentleman, right? Because you ended up winning that game anyway. I should have been a gentleman and said, "Oh, we should rematch. There's a lot of lag." That's what I should have said. I think that would have been
Oh
appropriate.
gosh, I can't wait till we get to this bet later that I won. I can't wait. But anyway, that was the UIC for us. Any last words? I did film a vlog for portions of it, so we'll definitely get
Nice.
some behind the scenes stuff. But
No, no, I just wanna say again, like, Caleb and I are super grateful for all the opportunities, and 1 year casting doesn't feel
mhm.
like a year. It feels like it's just started, and I can't wait to see where we go. I just hope we keep growing at the same rate, because if we do, just imagine, like, how crazy it could end up being
Yeah,
eventually.
like there's a lot of things that we can harp on, right? Things that aren't going well, but we got always have focus on the positives too, right? And like looking back on a year prior, like we didn't know what we're doing, right? The players didn't know
Mhm.
what they're like. I don't think that many players even knew what they're signing up for when they said they're going to EUIC, right? Or
True,
like our
true.
first broadcast event, like going to Worlds in London, like what does that really mean, right? But then
Mm.
once you saw it, it was just like it just caught fire, right? And everyone and all the regions started filling up tournaments, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, very excited. Hey, 256 this year, maybe 512 next year.
Ooh. Oh, man. Love it.
Dude.
I hope
Hey,
so.
shout
I
out
hope so.
again to the judging staff too. They did a great job running this event.
Yes.
They
Yes. The
kept it
tournament
real
was
smooth.
smooth.
Very smooth,
Very,
very
very
smooth.
smooth.
So anyway, what a great time. Thank you all for welcoming us, and we'll see. We'll see how NAIC responds. All right, we got some events. Sustainability Week 2023. At least
Mhm.
it's a consistent event that we've been having from Niantic. Starts on the 20th, which is tomorrow. Or if you listen to this, maybe today, depending on what time zone you're in. But starts Thursday, April 20th, 10 a.m. to Wednesday, 26th, 8 p.m. We get Pokemon debut, Bonsui, Steenie, and Tsareena, the evolution form of Bonsui.
Mhm. Mhm.
25 candies and 100 candies, etc. It's the fruit Pokemon. One of my favorite Pokemons from Pokemon Unite, but
Yes.
it's not that good in PvP, I think, here. So,
Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah,
no.
I was looking at the stats. It surprisingly, it compares to Alolan Raichu in Great League. It's actually very similar stat distribution, and in Ultra League, it's actually similar to Magnezone. So
Oh,
it's very,
gosh.
like,
Those are so
attack
bad.
weighted.
Pure
Yeah.
grass typing, too. This is not the best typing.
Yup.
hmm Anyway, we'll see. Maybe I guess I don't know what we can do to improve it, but hey, at least we got a release in Pokemon Go, right? A bunch of
Yeah.
wild encounters, Shelter being one of them, Fungus
Mhm.
being one of them, extra candies right there, pretty nice.
The
Um,
best.
and then some trainers might even, if you're lucky, might get Larvitar, Binacle, and Bonsui. And we have has Binacle always been shiny? Is that debut? I'm not
I don't
always,
think
but
it
it's been
has.
shiny for a while, right? I don't
I'm
know,
honestly not sure.
but it potentially could be shiny. So maybe that's a shiny release. I don't know. Someone could correct us
Mhm.
uh, down below. But anyway, event bonuses as well. Your buddy Pokemon, if it's an Ultra Buddy or higher, it'll bring you souvenirs more frequently. I do love those
Mm.
souvenirs. Your buddy Pokemon will accompany you on the map longer after being fed. Hey
Uh,
man, no more hunger. Your buddy Pokemon, if it's Great Buddy or higher, will bring you leaf wrap gifts more frequently. These gifts will contain berries more often, and they may even contain silver pineapple berries. Okay.
mm,
We do love some
sure.
fruit. And then one half distance to earn hearts with your buddy Pokemon, just to help earn yourself better, easier, faster, best buddy. I guess if you're really on
Mm.
that best buddy grind, it's not a bad event. Time research, things to have. I mean, there's Drillbur, Bond Sweet, but Trubbish is extra dust. Definitely
Yup.
stack those. I'm ready for our next dust competition, man. That's the one thing I need to conquer you in, right? I'd be winning in these PvP stuff, but dust competitions, I'm a little lacking here.
Yeah,
We'll have
a
more
little
dust
bit.
events coming up soon, though, so we'll talk about that.
But yeah, it'll be a good one. I mean, again, the 750 for each Trubbish, and then if you have a Stardust event on top of that, it could be quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's about it. I mean, nothing else too wild about this event. Any thoughts?
No, I think it'll be fine. I mean, like you, I hope that Tsareena would be good, but it just unfortunately doesn't look very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like the sustainability events. I think it's a cool feature that they roll out. These spawns are okay. I feel like I don't know, man. I'm starting to feel like we're due for a shakeup, though. We get like 1 or 2 new releases every now and then, and it's fun, but it just isn't. These events just don't hit the same. Are there too many events? Are there not enough new releases? What is it?
I don't mind the event frequency. It's just that some of them hit, some of them don't, right? I will say the
Yeah,
last Mystic Hero event, it wasn't too bad. I did do quite a few mass evolutions and got quite a few XLs from it. So it was actually much better than I expected.
I
There's
like the
just
new
one I
mechanic.
don't even
Yeah.
know what the event spawns were though. like if there were any. That's the one thing. But I think like the evolving to get extra XL candy was not like a terrible idea actually. I actually enjoyed some of
No,
that.
I thought it was great. I was actually evolving up until the event ended because I was like, man,
Hmm.
I really want to maximize this, which I typically don't feel like these days.
Yeah.
Like most things I have the XLs for that I need, or I have like the candy and the dust. But this time I was actually like grinding the game, which is fun.
You making that XL Sculpey for Ultra League?
Dude, getting there, getting there.
You can work on it. Um, Speaking of events, our next event coming up is Swine Up Community Day Classic.
Classic.
What are your thoughts on this one?
So for me personally, I do need some more XLs for that in case I ever get a Hundo Shadow sign up, right?
Okay.
Which, maybe one day will happen. But
Dreams are
I've
important
already
to have.
I've already built an Ultra League Piloswine
Yep.
that's like rank top 10 or top 15 rank or
Hmm.
something. So I don't know. I feel like this is fine. The triple dust is really nice, of course.
Yes.
Always a good bonus to have, but again, yeah. Oh, I will say all those rumors, those leaks, those predictions that came out like months ago, they're all turning out to be true, like one after the other.
Oh, are they? I don't remember them. There
Yes.
was a
Yeah,
Swine Up Community Day Classic.
they predicted Swine Up Community Day Classic and all the community days that came out since that leak.
Mm.
So
Okay.
it's a bit rough. Niantic might have a mole.
Yeah, they might. Speaking of moles, Swine Up, man. Uh,
Exactly.
April 29th, Saturday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. Yo,
Mhm.
let's do another Stardust challenge, man.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm
Uh,
down.
I don't know what the event
Don't
parameters is.
don't fudge the screenshot time, okay?
Me, I never do. What you mean? It's always you. You'd be like, dude, like I got a screenshot from like 8 a.m. that day. I'm like, my guy, the
Dude,
event started at 2 p.m.
dude, I just go hard, all right? I play really intensely and like minor stuff like screenshots. I try to remember as much as I can.
Yeah. I will say Ancient Power is not super useful for
No.
battles. Stone Edge might be better for Mammal Swine, so that's one thing. But maybe have one for Ancient Power just in case.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, that's gonna be that. So we'll have to see how that goes.
I still think Mamoswine it does have some play in Master League. So if you don't have a level 50 Mamoswine yet, it's a good event to play.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think the other moves it has access to are just inherently better.
Yeah,
Ancient Power is very, very mid.
yeah, yeah. All right, GBL season 10. The bet's over, baby. I hit
It's
legend
over. It's
in
all
Europe
ogre,
at EUIC with Zion shoutcasting
dude.
the live battles. I posted a
Dude,
YouTube video on it.
just I actually want to hear your opinion on this, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw shade at you, and I want to hear your opinion.
You gonna throw shade at me? Okay, for what? All
Yeah,
right, let's
yeah,
see
yeah,
what
yeah.
let's hear the shade.
All right, all right, all right.
What's the
So
shade?
just for the viewers at home, right? Listeners at home,
Uh-huh.
my man's Caleb flies across the Atlantic Ocean
All right.
to London in a
Okay.
brand new country, right? We've been to it once before. Okay, fair, but still,
Yeah.
he's in Europe. My man's Caleb gets to London, and for 2 days, he sits down in the lobby and plays
No,
GBL
don't.
instead of going outside and actually seeing the city and the country he's in. My man's
No.
is GBLing in the hotel lobby. What do you think? I want comments. I want comments, right? I want people to weigh in.
Dude, what they're thinking is it's worth seeing Speedy Chief eating a hot chip for 2 minutes without anything to drink or eat, man. That's what they're thinking. Look,
I'm glad it was worth it, but I'm dragging you out next time, dude. When you're not gonna GBL, we're gonna go explore.
There's no stopping me from Hidden Legend, right? Let me clarify for people what happened. I land at like 4 p.m. right in London on Wednesday, and it takes me like an hour plus, whatever, 2 hours to get to the place because I was like getting lost and whatever. I get there, I'm eating dinner with, Zionic, Amanda, Amandine, Bastix as well was there, and we're just eating and hanging out. And Zionic's like, I'm gonna do some GP. I was like, shoot, I might as well too. I mean, I got nothing else. It's like the night's always over, right? It's like 6, 7 p.m. at this point. I was like, what am I going to do, right? And also, we were not like downtown London, so I couldn't really go out and explore much. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm like only a few, like I'm at 2900s. I might be able to hit it. And I was kind of killing it. I was going like back-to-back 5-0s. I was like, oh, shoot, I might actually get it, right? And I was on the cusp the entire time. I was like, all right, let's just keep trying. I was like, Zionic's here. Dude, let's just have Zionic, Amanda, Amadine, whatever. Let's just have him shoutcast it in live in person, right? You don't see that happen very often, right? GBL, shoutcast in GBL, right? And I was screen recording, and then we hit Legend. I was like, all right, pretty good for me. And then the GBL season rotates over at like 9 p.m. that day, right? Because London time. And then I wake up at 5 a.m. to do some GBL sets because I'm jet lagged. That was it. I woke up at 5 p.m. And then next day, I think I played a little bit at lunch or something because we're eating and just, chilling and stuff. I was waiting for review to finish eating. And that's all the GBL I did that weekend. That first day. That first 24 hours I was there. That was it. Hey, look. If you think that 24 hours is the difference here, you got nothing coming, man. Like I said, I was willing to give you a 1-week grace period, right? I was willing to give you a 2-week grace period, right?
Yeah.
But it's time to get ordering, man. You can go on Amazon. I'm sure you can find the one chip. Shoot me a screenshot of what you're about to get first, just to make sure it's the actual thing. It's not like some like spicy Dorito, right? I didn't see
I'm just gonna take like a regular Dorito and then just add like a copious amount of cheese to it until it looks like the hot chip.
Dude, should we do it next week?
Next week?
Yeah, we should Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, or next Monday, or whatever day we record.
Yeah,
you don't want to do it when we have a guest on, right? It's going to be just you like cough in the background and me like asking
dying
questions.
the whole time.
yeah. Wouldn't you want me to be the only one there with you on your bed, right? You don't want someone else.
And all the 1,000 people that listen every week. Sure.
All right. Here's what I need you to do. All right. Grab a hot chip, right? Order on Amazon, whatever. I don't think they have it local stores. Get yourself some Pepto Bismol and some bananas. And stuff, right? I don't want you actually to die, right? This is not going to be good. Right. You look up all you got to do ahead of time. Like I think you got to eat some bananas ahead of time. Maybe drink some Pepto Bismol. Coat your stomach so that you don't get like too much heartburn, right? And then eat this dang chip for 2 minutes with nothing to eat or drink. 2 minutes not too bad.
It's gonna be the longest 2 minutes ever, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be just me talking for a whole like hour straight afterward.
Yeah. There you go.
What a good time. What a good time.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah. Do you want to handicap next time? You want something? You want a grace period?
Dude, all right. Hey, one step at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself, man.
What's your elo at currently, though, out of curiosity?
Oh, dude, I haven't played my sets in like a week.
Dude, this man's complaining about me doing stuff in
London. I was in London. I was in London, bro. I'm not going to sit in London in the hotel lobby and do my sets. Come on, bro. Be real.
Dude, I don't know, man. Anyway. I'll add it to the bet totals. I'm up to 8. 8-4. 1 tie.
Man.
8-4.
All right. Ever since we stopped the startups competitions, it's been a little skewed.
Hey, we're gonna have one. Oh, there's no events. What you want me to do? Hey, swine up, man. Swine up community. Start thinking some punishments, right? I will too.
All right.
I will too. All right. This T segment we've been dragging on for a hot second, but we are finally here at this T segment, and I think this is actually pretty relevant to what happened this past weekend. So. Let's pull it up. It's actually a poll from Evan7777.
Yes.
13.
Correct.
Top 5th place finisher at NEIC last year.
Mm-hmm.
Losing to Kaiser and their
He used the Beedrill, right?
Shadow
Beedrill?
Beedrill user at
That's right.
ANC. His post says thoughts on regional winners recompeting in a double elimination bracket. I feel like this is a divisive issue, and I need clicks while I'm on vacation, so I stay relevant. So the poll
Uh-huh.
results, the two choices is fair game or kind of cringe. With 411 votes in total,
It's
it came
actually
down to
closer than I thought. Yeah.
51.1% said fair game, 48.9% said kind of cringe. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Mm.
an interesting take. A lot of people kind of don't like it, right? I voted fair game. Did you vote on this poll?
Yeah, I voted fair game as well.
So I say EUIC comes in handy here because there were a lot of previous Worlds competitors, already Worlds qualified competitors at EUIC, right? You had what though? You
Mm-hmm.
had Inadequance, you had Statistan, Vani, Basix, Emi Weedle. Dude, the list goes on and on. Maybe Coxiac was there.
Mm-hmm.
Tomahawk maybe was there. Tomahawk UK.
Yeah, Tomahawk was there. Yeah.
Tomahawk was there. Logan Rocket was there. EJB was there. Dude, it's like every previously world's qualified EU trainer is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what? It made for great competition, right? Here's my take on it, and then you can share your take as well, too, if you
Sure.
like. If you can't beat them at a regional, you can't beat them at an international, you're probably not going to beat them in Japan. They probably just saved you a trip, to go to Japan. Yes, it's nice to qualify for these things and be a world's qualified competitor. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
too worried about who you're going to face at a local just because they already qualified, you probably don't have the champion mentality. Here's a great example. Kimi Sui, Fort Wayne, regionals
Yep.
winner. Really young competitor too. 13 years old, 14 years old, right? Has not qualified for world championships yet. Two trainers that have qualified for world championships were in that top 8. Magic Mason,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dijon the Jin. You know what? He beat them both. No problem. Went through the whole bracket. And didn't complain about it either, right? He had some intense matches against both of them. He actually quoted both those matches as some of the closest battles he had, right? But you know
Mm-hmm.
what? He wasn't worried about it. And again, the invites cascade down. Yes, sucks to face someone that's world qualified in round 1 of the bracket, knocks you straight to a loser bracket. Dang, that's a rough start. But it's just part of it, right? It's just part of it, and you gotta be able to withstand that adversity to have a chance to qualify for world championships in general, right? And to
Mm-hmm.
do well at worlds. No one's gonna have an easy bracket, right? I was in the same bracket as Burr Power and Doombug, with
Mm-hmm.
Dodge even and Iomero, like a bunch of people, right? So what? You just got to do what you got to do. I mean, I luckily dodged all of them, but still, like even if I
Yeah.
didn't, I was going to complain, be like, "Ah, I got to face Doombug." Like, yeah, I got to do what I got to do. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. Right?
Yeah.
Um, hey man, it's honestly, in my opinion, it's even better. It's
Mm-hmm.
even, in my opinion, it's actually better to face someone that's already world's qualified. Here's my selling point. If you're already qualified for world championships, you're more likely to run some weird stuff, to have fun with it, to not play as
True.
like clean, carefully, whatever, right? We had Doombug running a double in San Diego. We had EJB running double at USC. I mean, double honestly didn't look too bad from what's his name? WTM, right?
WTM.
WTM. But it's theoretically speaking, like in all honesty, probably a hard Pokemon to run. With Emi Weedle running a Raquidid, right? And I even asked Emi Weedle, I was like, hey, like how'd it go? He's like, oh, it's terrible. I just want to run back like a team a similar team to I use at World Championships, and I just want to have fun with it because I qualified. Great mentality, right? I think though Technical also ran some like really spicy team at Utrecht or Liverpool. I forgot which one it was, but
Yeah.
also something really random. But he already qualified, right? So you have all these really world's top level qualified competitors that are running spicier teams or just having fun with it. Wouldn't you rather face them at that point of stage rather than face them when they're hungry and fighting for their own invitation? If anything,
Fair point. Fair point.
you're not fighting them at their prime. You're not fighting them at their best because they're not trying
Mm.
to do it all, right? I mean, some trainers are still going to put their all into it, right? Like Sad saying, like I don't think he was trolling with team competition at all.
No,
Team
absolutely not.
competition, and he was trying really hard, and that's good competition. I gotta say, it's good
Yeah.
competition. What are your thoughts?
So I'm actually in a very similar boat as you. I feel like so think about it this way. What if as soon as somebody qualified, they couldn't compete in any more regionals? And essentially you had as the season went on, you had more and more people qualify. So those elite trainers stopped showing up to events. I actually want to hear people's opinion on this as well. I feel like the second half of the season would be, no offense to anyone, right? Because obviously it could be anyone, but I feel like the second half of the season would be a lot less formidable in terms of the champions that actually won. I think if you looked at the metrics and you looked at the first half of the season winners versus the second half of the season winners, I think the skill gap would be big, right? Because again, in the first half of the season, it's like GBL, right? You're playing against all the best trainers because they're all trying to qualify early. But if you wait until the GBL season has progressed and then you suddenly come through and all the best trainers have already hit legend, then people could argue it's a lot easier, right? And I agree with your point as well. If you can't beat the person now, then when you get to Yokohama, you're going to be disappointed, right? And you could argue in other factors like, oh, it's unfair that I had to face somebody in round one that's already qualified. And it's not fair because, they're actually really, really good. And they've been through this, they have more experience, and it's intimidating to new players as well. That's going to happen no matter what game you play. Just imagine when we have a championship point system, right? And people like Trent are going to every regional. People like Wadaj and Onion Frank are going to every single regional, which they already are, right? You're not going to get around them just because, they've already qualified by virtue of their points. And like, for example, on Evan's tweet, there's one point from Elcal. And like, I like Elcal, right? Elcal's my friend. He said, in a time system of getting a ticket, you're taking that spot away from someone else. Yes, but only half true because we're not selling out these events. It's rare that we sell out these events. Once we're like selling out events within the first few minutes every time, then I'll start to understand that argument.
The invite also cascades down. You can't steal an invite from someone, right?
No. He means like if there are 128 spots at a regional.
And I know. I'm just adding on to that. Yeah, but you're right.
Oh,
yeah. For the specific comment for Alcavismo,
yeah, just for that comment. But to your point, right? Like we saw this in Fort Wayne. We saw this again at EUIC. Trainers that are already qualified are placing, and the people below them actually get a helping hand, which is nice. Right? Mm-hmm. 5th and 6th place from EUIC got qualified because of the good trainers that surrounded them. So I also want to point out as well, Magic Mason, the Dream Eater in Fort Wayne. It's one thing to like knock off people that are trying to qualify, but it's another thing to knock off your teammates that are trying to qualify. that was honestly pretty divisive in my mind.
Dude, I don't care who I'm facing at Hartford, man. I'm going all
Dude,
out.
That's the thing. Like if you really want a shot to win worlds, right? And I think that's what everybody's like gunning for, that chance to go to the world stage. And like everybody wants to have a good time, right? But in the back of your mind somewhere, you're saying, man, it'd be awesome if I was like the world champion. It'd be so, so cool. If you can't win now, getting to that championship stage, you don't have the right mindset, right?
Exactly. Well, that's, yeah. I guess we're on the same page here. I will say though, you brought an interesting point, right? You said the winners are people that qualify worlds in the first half of the season might be higher caliber than the later half, right?
Think about it.
So I don't know how I agree with you on this. Might be contingent how you respond to this. Would you say San Diego Regionals was in the first half or the second half of the season?
Oh, definitely the first half.
All right, I'm full on board then. I like that theory completely.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. Like imagine if you took the Wadages, the Trents, you took yourself, you took Magic Mason, you took like all those trainers out of the equation for like Fort Wayne going forwards. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody's going to argue that they aren't some of the best trainers in the world, right? So if you took the top 5 to 10% out, then you're dealing with the top 90 to 95%, which would definitely produce a different result. Unless you disagree,
No, I think it's a valid point.
Yeah.
But now that more and more world's competitors are still competing at these regionals, hey man, we got to keep the competition high. But you make a really great point too, all jokes aside, with the championship points and everything. Like, this might be the last season we have it. I don't know, right? Don't quote me on this, right? I'm not like spilling any TPCI secret. I don't really know what the situation is. But if we do move to championship points in the future, you're going to have to face against top tier trainers consistently, right? But that's how TCG and BG thrives. They don't have like 1,000 new players at different regionals. They have a lot of the same hundreds of players at these tournaments. You're going to see a lot of the same faces, right? Like if you're sick of facing like Though Technical, dude, you're going to be sick of facing him next year when there's even more tournaments, right? Yeah. You ain't going nowhere.
What people still don't understand as well is in the other titles, you have travel stipends. So if you do well in Fort Wayne, they can like help pay for your trip to EUIC.
Yeah.
So it's not just it's not just that these people are showing up on their own dime. They're being encouraged to show up again because they perform well. So it's only going to get more intense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Strap in. If this is too intense for you, oh, it can be a rude awakening.
Yeah. If you don't like it, just start winning. Easy.
Exactly. Look, I here's the thing, right? You have to have a champion mindset, right? If you want to win these things, and like no one accidentally wins a regional or gets second place at a regional. It's not an accident, right? No matter how humble someone says they are, like they have to have a level of not only like competence and skill in the game, but they have to have a level of like arrogance almost, right? And self-belief, right?
Sure.
Like, I don't think anyone accidentally just says, I have no idea how I won Worlds, or I have no idea how I won this regional. No, you know, right? If they're saying that, they're lying to you, right? They know they put in a lot of work. They know they've been destroying people in scrims leading up to this, right? They didn't just suddenly get good in the middle of the tournament, right? They put in the work, they put in the effort, and they have a level of confidence and arrogance and hubris to think that they could do it. And you need that, right? It's like a delicate balance, right? You don't want to be overconfident, right? And oversell your abilities. We have that pretty good. Like, I think at any given day, I go into a tournament and I'm going to say, you know what? I think I have the ability to beat anyone here. Am I going to win it all? Maybe not, but I go in thinking like I'm going to be able to win this match somehow, right? I'm going to have a win con, right? You're not going to go in feeling defeated and saying like, there's no way I beat this. No one
then
goes
you've
to
already
match
lost.
Like, there's no one. It's like, there's no way I beat this person. It's rarely you come out that set actually winning, right? Unless you just make the most. Like, even if you're RPSing someone, you have to RPS them with confidence, right? You can't be swapping late. You can't be doing this stuff, right? You have to like actually like believe that I'm going to destroy you with RPS, right? In this situation, like this game's over, right? Halfway through, but you know, so having that confidence is really important there too. So,
dude, there's actually a quote. There's actually a quote from Confucius. You ready for this? Dude, I know you love my analogies. You thought you were getting out of here. This is a quote from Confucius.
Yeah, all right, let's hear it.
The person who says they can and the person who says they cannot are both correct.
Oh, dude, that's kind of deep, not gonna lie.
Dude.
That's yo.
It's true. It's true. If like Caleb said, if you walk in there and you're like, I can't beat Ramberto, I can't beat Trent, guess what? I don't think you're gonna beat him. It's pretty accurate. You have to believe before you can actually execute, right?
Yeah, I love that. You think we're allowed to quote Confucius on broadcast?
Dude, I'm working on you, man. Over time.
Maybe you know, too. I don't know if this is kosher or not. Maybe I won't say Confucius, but I'll just say to quote a friend of mine.
Dude, you know, when Tauntaun won, I said that the self-made champion is a myth. You remember that?
What does that mean specifically?
The self-made champion is a myth. It requires a community. It requires the friends, the people that support them, the scrims, the teachers, everything. Right. That's actually a quote from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, you're ripping off Arnold Schwarzenegger now too,
dude. I'm telling. Hey, I'm just saying.
I like
for those of you that heard that, dude, the self-made champion's a myth. Nobody. I don't care who you are. Nobody just wakes up one day and has everything they need and learns everything they need to learn to win a championship. It just doesn't happen.
Hey, maybe we should have a race to see who can quote Confucius first in a broadcast.
Dude, it's deep, dude. It's a deep quote.
Say the quote one more time.
Yeah, I'll send it to you as well. The person who says they can and the person who says they cannot are both correct.
I love it. I love it. What a great way. And you know what? That 51.1% that voted fair game, you're a bunch of canners. A bunch of cannots are the cringe people. There's people that say kind of cringe. I guess that sells it for the T. Everyone's right. They're both right on the poll. The real question is, where does Evan stand on this? He didn't really share his opinion.
Dude, true.
But I guess we'll see. I think that just about wraps it up for us. Wish you the best of luck next week as you dive into a spicy chip, right?
Yeah, we got a Bastion stream coming up. If I may plug a couple things, we have our GBLA stream coming up Wednesday night. We have another one Thursday night, 6:30 Eastern start time.
Killing it.
Caleb and I will be doing some Bastiodon battles in Great League at some point. Well, TBD.
Yeah, let me know.
Sunday, we actually have a charity tournament coming up as well. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's for St. Baldrick's Catch a Million. It's to raise money to fight kids' cancer. And every year,
I think I saw that actually. Yeah.
Yep. Every year in April, from the 23rd to the 29th, or at least the last week of April, they host this fundraiser. Goal is to raise $100,000 as an organization. We're going to do our best to help out.
Awesome. I love to see it. I love the community events too in general, right? It's a great way to kind of bring us together. I mean, Pokemon Go, especially Pokemon Go PvP, is a very solitary aspect of the game, but there's a lot of ways to bring in the community, which we saw this past weekend at EUIC. We're seeing it in online events, and yeah, we're seeing it at these charities, so it's really cool. That about wraps it up for us. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave it on our YouTube. You know where it's at. Squirrel Trapper, you know where it's at too. I look forward to your comments every single week. You know,
I want to hear people weigh in. Seriously, I want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe we'll have a guest in future, maybe not. But I'm gonna stay tuned for that. The real question is maybe we need to replace the co-host if the spicy chip is a little too much, right? You know.
Yeah.
On your
I could go ahead.
I know. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I could legit like lose my voice if it's too intense.
Well, no, not only that, but imagine if you quit this, you're like, I'm done with this thing, man. I just can't take all this stuff, right? And you're like, what's it called? What's that thing called where you like hand someone else like a folder of things like to your successor?
My exit interview. I give
kind of
them,
like an exit interview notes. Thing, right? It's like notes for the next like your successor, right? And they'll be reading and you'd be like, don't make bets with Caleb.
No, for real. It's like number one.
Can't help yourself, you know. Everyone's like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that wraps it up for us. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out.
Peace.